We've been hearing a lot about people being detained upon entry or re-entry to the United States, including green card holders and permanent residents. And so the Washington Post has made this very helpful slideshow that I wanted to go through with you guys regarding this scenario. And so first, what rights do you have? Well, obviously it depends, right? If you have a visa versus permanent resident versus being a U.S. citizen, you're going to have different rights. Clearly, U.S. citizens cannot be denied entry to the United States. You are a citizen. Permanent residents also cannot be deported or have their green cards revoked before going in front of an immigration judge. Now, what we have been hearing is that sometimes permanent residents have been given a form essentially renouncing their permanent residency. And so in that case, don't sign any form if you're a permanent resident. But in that case, then they're put, back essentially on planes and returned back to their country of origin. But in theory, if you have a green card, you should be allowed in, and sure, they could place you in secondary or even give you a notice to appear in front of an immigration judge if they have a reason to believe that, your green card should, be revoked. But you do have to be in front of a judge in order for them to do that. Now, foreign nationals and visa holders have to be admitted by CBP officials, right? And so they definitely can deny entry. Those CBP officials can deny entry if they have cause or reason to believe that either you've already violated the terms of your visa or you obtained it through fraud or they don't believe the reason for your entry. So, those people are definitely more at risk, non-residents and visa holders. So how can you prepare? Well, first, if you have an immigration attorney or some other contact that could maybe get in touch with an immigration attorney, you should have that on hand just in case, you are detained. You want to have an emergency contact that can reach out to an immigration attorney. In some cases, when people are wrongfully detained, immigration attorneys file what are called habeas corpus petitions to essentially get you out and hold the government to their burden to say why they are detaining you. What can you be questioned about? And this applies to U.S. citizens, permanent residents, and visa holders. Everyone can be questioned. Just because you're a U.S. citizen does not mean you can't be questioned. Well, here, U.S. citizens and permanent residents only have to answer those questions establishing their identity and either permanent residency or citizenship, right? However, if you refuse to answer questions, then they can place you into secondary. It can delay your entry to the U.S. Now, again, returning to what I just said, the non-citizens and visa holders, can be completely denied if you refuse. So unlike permanent residents and U.S. citizens who might be placed in secondary and just be delayed, they can straight up deny entry if you refuse to answer questions, right? The visa holders. This has been in the news a lot. Right? Electronic devices, can they search your phone? Yes, even U.S. citizens, okay? They can search the phones of U.S. citizens. So keep that in mind, that your phone can be searched and they can even keep your phone if you're a U.S. citizen and allow you to enter, but keep your phone for their review. So going back to what I just said, right? If you refuse to unlock your phone, for example, you're a U.S. citizen, you refuse to unlock your phone, they can just take it. They'll allow you in because you're a citizen. They have to let you in, but they can just take your phone. However, other people can be denied entry for not turning over or unlocking their devices. So what can they do with your phone, right? So here's the two differences. One is a basic search, which does not require any additional or reasonable suspicion. In other words, they can just take a look at your phone and look at the apps, your messages, etc. But there is this other type of review of your phone, which is the extended advanced review. And then that is where they actually connect it to a computer and it really copies downloads everything and analyzes it for keywords, images, etc. But in order to do that, they do need this reasonable suspicion. Now, I don't know I don't know how high of a threshold that is, but in theory, they have to meet that threshold before doing the advanced review. So going back to the beginning and how can you prepare? What should you do if you're detained or refused entry? Again, obviously having an immigration attorney on hand or their contact ready to step in if necessary is going to be very important. And I mean, clearly you have to comply, right? And as long as you are detained in the U.S., they can file that habeas corpus petition. But once you are removed, then you're going to have to seek, other remedies available to you from your home country. And again, consulting with an attorney is really all you can do. So I hope this helped. It's unfortunate I have to do these things, but I do hope this helps and answer some of your questions regarding re-entering or entering the United States from abroad.